Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. So, in a recent Reverse the Verse with Todd Pappy, a question came up regarding secondary landing locations around planets like Hurston and ArcCorp. Basically, they wanted to know whether we will see other landing zones which we can visit, plus whether we'll be able to log off and respawn at these locations as well. Now, Todd does answer this question, and I feel it's a good opportunity to explain, plus expand on what this could mean for the player. Now, he says that there will be many secondary landing zones, like towns, villages, all dotted around the planets which the players could visit, but also should the location have a hotel, for example, the player could choose to spawn and log in and out there. Now, towns and villages have always been in the plan since the planets became procedural. However, with many new backers joining the project, it might not be all that well known. Now, Todd has also mentioned that not just towns and villages will be available, there'll also be derelicts dotted around, outposts, underground facilities like we're seeing now, and even caves. They are currently doing some prototyping on caves and getting an idea of how best to do them, working out how to build it from a modular standpoint. Then next week, they say the art will sync up to try and figure out the best approach on how to create them. Basically, they're figuring out the do's and the don'ts. For example, things like ravines, rock types, the ice, maybe magma, the metrics of it, how the AI will use them, is there water in there, even taking vehicles into consideration. Currently, they said that they can create large enough caves that people are getting lost in there, the developers are getting lost, which they did actually say themselves is not a bad thing, and it looks very promising. Personally, I cannot wait to see caves, exploring a cave system which could contain creatures, pirates, even real people hiding out in them. It's going to be very exciting. With ArcCorp, with it being completely covered in buildings, they say there are other buildings dotted around ArcCorp which protrude above the no-fly zone, so these buildings will be enterable and hold locations that we can visit, again like outposts, maybe places to get missions, and sometimes, he says, involving combat. I'm not sure what that could mean or how it could play out, but it does sound exciting. Also, there is that potential there that we could own apartments in ArcCorp and maybe fly from the top with the landing pad. That would, I expect, be more in Area 18 or the actual landing zones than just dotted in random places. Now, we know there is going to be lots of locations all over most planets that make sense to have them. Things with settlements, towns, villages in which the AI NPCs will be living. Players can go and visit. They may require deliveries to and from, maybe even allow you to stay, possibly hold mission givers, and hopefully each having their own lore and history that the player can choose to learn about or not. The scope for this is massive, and I'm sure that they will vary what you find in each location. Don't forget as well, over time, player-made settlements using the Pioneer will also make their way onto the surface of many planets, plus other building types for players to build. The big question, which Todd said, is that they need to determine how to go about doing this. Do they build out the secondary locations before creating a completely new system? Do they do it afterwards, or do they just do it at the same time? Personally, I would love for them to have two teams, one fleshing out the current planets with new points of interest, and another team building other systems and planets out. This, as he says, is a big question, and I would love to know your thoughts on it. Do drop your thoughts in the comments on what you would love to see Planetside, whether you think they should flesh out the current system, build a new system, or try and do it both at the same time at maybe a slower rate. Anyway, the point of this video is to let those who didn't already know and remind those who did that eventually we are going to be flying and driving around planets, venturing off to villages, towns, caves, derelict ships, and so many more different points of interest. All these places holding more gameplay and enjoyment, and I, for one, cannot wait. Also, don't forget places like Lorville offer domestic travel, taking you to these locations without even needing to fly yourself. I would love to see one day planets become more and more populated, not just from CIG's development, but players creating these settlements, and hopefully joining them up with roads and transports, and man, the scope is crazy. Anyway, that's all I have to say on the matter. As I've said, do let me know what you think. A big shout out to my Patreons, guys, and my sponsor, Intro. If you do like my kind of videos and want to help me out even further, do hit the link to my Patreon below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.